Hey guys, welcome to People I Think Are Cool. I'm your host, Liz Reed, one part of the Art Duo Cuddles and Rage, and this is my podcast where we review cool, interesting, creative people. Today on the show, I have Dave Perillo. He's back! He has been on the show before years ago, and in the middle of the pandemic during 2020, I was like, I want to talk to a familiar face. And instead of being like, hey, we should talk on Zoom, I was like, you should be back on the podcast, and just an excuse to talk to you. I love Dave. I think he's hilarious, and his art style is one of my favorites. I was talking to him even before we became friends, like at Baltimore Comic Con. And we talk about that and how that grew and the con situation during the pandemic. Like now cons are coming back, so it's going to be a little bit weird. I must feel like I want to get like a mini update from him if he's experienced that. I am still not doing the con circuit, but I will be going to a film festival in September, so we'll see how that goes. But if you are also a huge Dave Perillo fan, you will really love this episode. Okay, well, let's get into the interview then, now that I know that you hate Zoom and you have basically graced me with your presence.
No, you're fine. I'm just saying that, like, when my idiot friends want to talk to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you that like, Jimmy and I always talk about how so sad we are that we aren't able to see you and the crew like we typically do twice a year.
I know.
It's just been so surreal to not have cons. Like, how has that affected you?
A lot. Like, it was a huge chunk of my income that just got wiped away. And then I had to, to make up for it, do all this online stuff. So, I don't know. I mean, the online stuff this year was selling stuff online was really good. But there is that kind of the social aspect of being at a convention. You know what I mean? It's like, you interact with people, you meet new people, you see people that you don't see that often. So I don't know. I miss that a lot. So,
and it breaks up your routine, even though it is routine somewhat. It also breaks up your day to day.
But yeah, especially being a freelancer, you're stuck in your house all the time. So you don't go to an office and see other coworkers. So going to a convention is the closest you get to having a real world job kind of thing. So it bums me out.
And you're also not a con warrior where that's what you do every week.
No, yeah, I don't know how those guys are handling it. There's a lot of the guys that do the shows every single time, and they just wipe them out. I mean, that's all they did. That was their income. Yeah. So, I feel bad for them.
Are the fans of Dave Perillo Facebook page stepping up and buying some of your stuff online?
I guess. I'm not on Facebook.
They need to step it up more then. I'll say that. You guys, if you're really a fan.
Get on it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not on Facebook, so sometimes I just peek in through my wife's Facebook. So
you're a creeper of your own Facebook group.
No, I don't have anything to do with that. It has nothing to do with me. Yeah, I'm not affiliated or I'm not responsible for anything they say or do. I should put a disclaimer up, whatever the Dave Perillo Facebook fan page does not reflect on me in what shape or form. So. Yeah,
but it's the highest compliment. So, do you have an online store? I actually don't even, because I buy from you in person.
Okay. I do. There's some stuff on there. I don't have everything. It just gets too hard to manage it. It's just on my website. There's a link to it. So it's through Big Cartel.
Okay. I'll have it.
Etsy and stuff. Do you use Etsy? Is that what you use?
I do, but I would really like to change, but I know that people organically find me there. So I think eventually, if I can price it out right, then I'd like to have a Cuddles and Rage storefront, through our website, and then just have our easy stuff, maybe not the custom sculpt so much, the stuff that's sells out on Etsy, and just have the prints and stuff there. And then if somebody wants to write to me, then I can connect them and point them in the right direction. But they just take way too big of a cut. And also, their customer service is not my favorite. When you can actually talk to a real person, then that's great. But finding their phone number, they don't make it public. So you have to, really hound them and say, I actually need to talk to a person. Oh. I did that this week about taxes because they actually put the wrong tax ID on the forum, which
Okay.
everybody was complaining about, which sounds like, shouldn't you, you're a company that's been around for a while, shouldn't you have that right? Anyways, but yeah, I have Etsy, but I don't love it.
Yeah. I did it years ago and then I switched. So I think I got out before it changed over to there was like a whole way to pay. Like you can't use PayPal, right? Or can you?
I think you can, and you can use credit cards, but then there's like a different fee on top of credit cards. So I actually did a dive in this week because I was angry. And so their fees add up a lot more than, say, like going through, like, I don't know if I looked at Shopify. Whoever is associated with Squarespace is who I looked at.
I think that's Shopify, yeah. Because I use Big Cartel, so.
Do you like Big Cartel?
I do. It was easy. It's nice. You can integrate it into your website real easily. So it looks like your website. So that's kind of nice. Like Etsy looks like Etsy, right? You can't really change the way it looks, right?
No. And like they have this weird, like somebody pointed it out to me and I had to look it up. They have weird glitches sometimes. Like there was a glitch where they added 2 extra zeros to, I think, everything shipping wise. And so if it costs like $4 to ship, then it just automated to like $400, which that's a big issue when you have like sales coming in every day. I didn't have sales that day, which I guess kind of got lucky in a sense, but that's a big glitch.
That is a glitch, yeah.
Yeah. That's one that like I'm surprised they didn't get like more attention for that. But yeah, I know they need to like up their game. And then I was writing I'm in like this almost artist Facebook group. And one of the common things with them is how you can sell through like Amazon Prime too. But like with Amazon, like a lot of people are just like expecting like free shipping. And, you know, like those kind of costs add up and it's not like, and Etsy promotes that too, like free shipping. Yeah. And especially for me, like with sculptures and for you with your posters, like those tubes, like that's not super easy to ship.
Yeah, because they did the thing, where they're like, I heard that they put the listings with free shipping above other people's listings that's charged for shipping. So it kind of prioritizes people offering the free shipping. But that'll kill you. I mean, because especially international, I just cut it off because they're not going to get them. It's impossible to get anything even in the country at this point, let alone getting outside of the country. So I just cut it off completely. And it was getting so expensive. It was more than the prints on some of them. Like a tube costs almost $28 now to ship. International first class, not even priority or anything like that. So it's crazy. And then it won't even get there. So you pay all this extra money. It doesn't even show up. And then England did that Vax thing, right? Or they have like a whole weird, I didn't even look into it because I got some guy that keeps emailing me from England wanting to buy stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not dealing with that. I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, I would say that's where Etsy maybe comes in and kind of manages that stuff for you. So that is a benefit. Yeah. So yay, I guess they got a point there.
Yeah, I did look that up because I looked up on Big Cartel if they had any information about it. And they had like a link and then it goes to it and there's nothing on the link. So, but Etsy had a thing. So I was like, I didn't even understand it. It was like, Brexit? Okay. Is that a thing?
Yeah. No, I don't even want to think about that right now. So for you, I know in the past you've done like a lot of like your own like solo shows or group shows, you know, with not so much like the big ones, but like with 2 or 3 other people. Have you done any of that this past year?
Yeah, me and Tom Whalen had one actually over the summer.
Oh, cool.
And it was we did like the little 4x4 prints of like characters. So we had done one, I think 2 years ago at Gallery 88, and it was called like Versus, and it was like 2 characters that were like enemies. So this time we went and did friends. So we called it BFFs. So there were these little mini prints of like BFFs, and it actually did really well. It did better than any show we've had where we actually showed up in person. So maybe us actually being there is not a good thing. Maybe that turns people off. So
I doubt that.
Actual gallery opening is the way to go. So.
I mean, I just think people are opening their hearts and their wallets to support artists right now.
I think so. Yeah. It was really good though. It did well, and it was good because it picked up from that lack of convention thing, like where that hurts. So that was nice that we had that over the summer. But I mean, it was kind of sad because I do like going out to California and going out there for the opening and being there, but. it was nice that it actually still did well, because I didn't know how I was going to, do without, just all online. So.
Yeah. Well, what has freelance life been like for you? I mean, obviously it's changed a bit, but it sounds like you're still keeping up with your same clients.
They've slowed down a bit. So then I tried to pick up different clients.
Ooh,
And,
like how? Do you write to them or do they typically come to you?
well, they started finding me, and then I got an agent to try and pick up other stuff. Because I know I talked to you years ago, because I really want to get into doing more book stuff, like illustrating kids' books. And so I'm still trying to go that route. And I did illustrations for a book coming out in May.
Oh.
Through what is it? It's Running Press, who is under.
They're all under like 3 different places, like the big 3 or whatever, 3 or more.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many.
It's like Hachette is the one that's their parent company, but it's a kid's guide to fandom. So it's written by this woman named Amy Radcliffe, who does like a lot of Star Wars books, and the book is kind of like a guidebook for kids and teens, like doing like fan fiction and cosplaying and going to conventions and kind of getting them into that scene, like podcasting. There's like chapters on that. So I did the cover illustration and the interior illustrations for that, but it's more like a guidebook. So, but that comes out in May. So I did get to work on that. That was fun. Cause it was kind of like doing like a lot of like science fiction, pop culture, kind of like parody stuff. Like it had to be like non-licensed versions of things.
So like the cereal, like the grocery store cereal brand, the great value of superheroes.
Yeah, like it's not Harry Potter, it's Larry Cropper, the Wizard Kid, So it's you can't write that in the book because it's not officially licensed. So, but there's like you could tell what it is by looking at it. So that was fun, and so I did that, and then I've had some other like weird, like corporate stuff for like companies that I don't know. You'll probably never know it's me that did it, and they'll never have my name on it. So it's different than me doing a poster where I like promote it as being a piece of artwork I did. It's not, I'm not going to promote like, here's a thing for life insurance in Germany. So it's just.
But they pay better typically, like the corporations, because they have corporate money.
They can, but then there's also a weird corporate thing where it's like getting paid by them is like pulling teeth. So it's I don't know. Sometimes it's easier just working with like a gallery who does like I do the posters for, because it's like I know the guy who runs the gallery and it's them paying me, and it's not like you have to send your W-9 and 50 paperwork things and bank information to corporate accounting and then wait 10 weeks. And it's like, all right. And so then I'm doing all that business stuff, which I don't like. It's not,
Yes, and they all have like their own like system that you have to sign up for. Like and you're like, how many passwords do I have to make for my job?
Oh yeah. Like these like different portals. Like Disney has crazy like weird stuff like that. Like weird things. Like every year I get an email from them and I always forget about it. I just got it last week, and it's called the Mineral Conflict Form, to make sure that I'm not producing any products that have lead in them and then supplying them to Disney. And I'm like, that's not what I do. But for some reason, I'm under the same umbrella that the same people that supply products to Disney are. So they send the form out to everybody. And I always have to explain in the form. It's like I write, no, this doesn't apply to me. And they go, it says in our information that this does apply to you. And then I have to write, I don't do anything that would, I'm not giving you lead. I'm sending digital files to you. That's it. So
that's weird. Yeah, because they produce all your stuff, which is what's so fun about like your work with Disney is it's not just posters. You get to hold it and use it, which is one thing that I've been thinking a lot about with art, because my walls are getting full of art. I'm running out of space, and I imagine people that have been fans of you for a long time too are also running out of space. So are you seeing a pivot into I know with like Mondo and like even with the galleries, I'm seeing more like toys and stuff like that. But do you think more artists are going to pivot into, I guess, usable things versus just, art on your wall?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, there's always that fear that the bubble of like the guys that collect posters is going to just eventually like wear out. Like people are going to get, like they're going to run out of wall space. They're going to get tired of collecting posters. There's only so many like licensed posters that somebody needs a certain poster for. Like how many Jaws posters can someone really have? But there's like a million of them, you know?
I think we have Tom's. I know he was Alien. So nobody can give us Alien.
He didn't do Jaws.
I don't know. He's got, no, you know what it is? I think it's Zombie. I think it's the, you know, like the movie where the zombie eats, the shark eats the zombie underwater.
Yes. I think he did that for like a colonial theater showing or something, it's like an old one. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Back before he popped.
Yeah. You got classic Tom.
I got classic you too. I think I got like your Vincent Price at Baltimore Comic Con, and that's where we met. And I was fangirling. I was wearing your shirt too, like Burger Time. And you're like, hey, somebody's wearing my shirt. I was like, yes, I am.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, yeah, but I think like different things like products could be the way to go. Like I'd like to do more vinyl toy stuff. I think that'd be fun. Yeah. Like I did one for Disney. That was cool. Like I got to do like a Mickey and Walt statue.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you saw it. It's on their website, which is nice. You can actually buy it on Shop Disney. But it's like the statue when you walk into Disney World and Disneyland. It's called Partners, and it's Mickey and Walt holding hands. So I got to do my version of that.
Wow, that's iconic.
I was afraid it wasn't going to come out too because of like COVID. Everything kind of got held up, but it actually still got released. So
yeah. Would you ever change your style? You're known for such a specific style.
I mean, I think it's always evolving. Like I look at the stuff that I did 10 years ago, and I don't know if it necessarily looks like what I do now. And sometimes I cringe at the stuff I did 10 years ago. I think that's like every artist does that. Yeah. And, you know, I always, when I'm talking to my other artist friends, like when they're like, oh, this thing looks horrible. And I said, it really doesn't look horrible. You think it looks horrible. And people that collect the stuff, like they love it. So they don't ever think stuff looks horrible unless there's some troll or something that's just messing with you. So, but like you always like you looking at your own stuff is kind of like the most critical eyes you're going to have on something. Cause I don't know, for me, I'm never 100% happy with what I do. And I think it's always kind of changing and you want to change it up because I guess you kind of get tired of stuff, but I do admire artists that are able to consistently keep that same style. Like Shag's been doing his thing for years and it always looks good. So I admire that kind of conviction. I mean, I guess you should try and keep
Scott C's been able to do that too.
What's that?
Scott C's been able to do that too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know how he doesn't get tired of doing those, like the showdowns, the great showdowns. Eventually,
hey, Nick, can you get tired if you sell out and you make money? And then especially his originals are like super pricey for his originals.
Yeah.
And he's got a baby now, so not a stalker. Just follow him on social. Just know.
And he's wearing the blue scarf right now. No, I swear I don't have a live feed going on my computer.
I think you have a live feed into my house then if you know that. So who's the creeper now, Dave?
It's just reflecting off the screen behind you so I can
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to know, I mean, I guess one thing that you've missed out on with cons is like the number of people that bring you Swedish fish.
Yeah.
I love that that's a thing that people know that you are like a candy goblin and bring them to you. How did that get started?
I think I just eat horrible. Like as the older I get, I realize that like I see all these other people online, like they post videos on Instagram of them like exercising, and then like, it's my cheat day. I'm going to eat a bag of Funyuns, and I'm like, cheat day. I've had a cheat decade. So like I don't know how like it's Girl Scout cookie season. So now it's like I have a serious problem with the Caramel Delight cookies. Like I can't stop eating those things. Like I don't know. So candy, I just can't control myself. Luckily I have a fast metabolism. I don't know.
Yeah, you do. I mean, I feel like you guys always walk in, you, Scott, and Ian, like with a case of donuts at least one of the 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
That you're at a convention.
Yeah. And it's not like that's just like, oh, we're at a convention, so this is where we're going to eat donuts. It's like me and Ian like will text each other going, hey, I just tried this garbage cereal. You got to try it. It's so good. Like I got chocolate cinnamon churro Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal, and I was like texting. I was like, oh, it's so good. So he has to like run out and buy a box of it, and then he's texting me how he went to like Popeyes and they had like chocolate cream filled beignets like through like so I drove like a half an hour to a Popeyes to get these things. Yeah,
I believe it. So with your junk cereal and if your kids try and grab it, are you like, this is daddy's cereal?
You know, my son doesn't eat anything. Like, so it's like he has his certain things that he eats. So they don't even touch like some of the stuff. He does eat Swedish fish. So like I got a big bag of Swedish fish for Christmas and then it went missing. And then I found it and there was 4 Swedish fish left in it. I'm like, well, that's not cool. So
I love that they're like kids sneaking food like into their bed like you won't notice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like there was we just got the Girl Scout cookies yesterday and an entire box of Thin Mints disappeared. So.
Dang. Yeah, I feel like it was just Girl Scout season not too long ago. How do they do it twice a year?
No, it's only this time. Yeah.
You know what? That just feels like pandemic time right there.
Yeah, because this whole year is like a blur. It was like last year when it was cookie season, and then now it's cookie season again.
With the pandemic, I've been trying to like go out of my way to stay connected with other artists that I haven't been able to see. Mm-hmm. I know that you're like not a super Zoomer, but have you been trying to stay in contact with, just the regulars that you would bump into throughout the year?
I've talked to some. Again, I talked to Tom Whalen a lot, and then Ian and Scott. So I still talk to those guys, and then I've messaged a lot of the Wonderground guys through like Instagram and stuff like that, just to see how, like, we kind of like check in on each other, because there was the whole weird thing with Wonderground Gallery over the summer. The one in California had shut down temporarily because it's supposed to reopen again. So we were kind of checking in with that. But then there's like other people at like conventions that, you only see at conventions. I don't even know if I, besides social media, know what they're doing. So other than that, that's pretty much it. But yeah, I haven't seen many people. Just my family, so it's great. Yeah.
And you love them when they're not stealing your food.
Yeah, they're stealing my food. It's like I joined a fraternity that I didn't want to be a part of, and I'm like trapped. I'm like the RA or something in a dorm that it's like some kind of weird Twilight Zone that I don't know how I got stuck here. Like, where are my Swedish fish?
Yeah. I love that you consider being with your families like in a dorm room.
They're like, they smell and they're loud and they're up all night. Yeah.
This sounds exactly like the advice that you would give everybody at like the table after a con of beers when we're like, we don't have children yet. You're like, let me tell you what it's like.
Because then there's the people that like, they have these like, oh, it's so great, I love my kids. It's like, yeah, I love my kids. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's
all you gotta say, and then just leave it there. Read between the lines. No, you love them. I know you adore them. You buy presents for them all the time.
I do.
Even if they don't say thank you.
They don't say, they steal my fish. They don't say thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
With an agent, though, I mean, like, how has that just kind of changed your approach to things? Because my understanding with some people that have gotten agents, they actually quit having an agent because they had to keep up with their portfolio and refreshing it constantly. Mm-hmm. And that was cumbersome for them. I don't think that's the case for everybody.
Yeah, I don't think it's too big of a deal for me. I have so much stuff already, and the stuff I've already done outside of the agency is still my own. So I still do more stuff via myself than I do whatever they kick my way. It's like their stuff is kind of just like side work at this point. It's not enough stuff coming in that I would be able to like just live off of the agency work. But I had tried. It is really, really hard to get in with any agency. I found out. Like, I sent my stuff out to almost anybody you could think of, and I would get these rejection letters back that made me feel like I had just graduated high school and I was like trying to get into like the art field. I'm like, I feel like I have, enough experience that I shouldn't be getting these letters, but I don't know. It was odd. So, especially books, like you guys, you got in, you have your your thing. So that's great, but it's tough. It's not an easy field to break into.
No, it's not an easy field to break into. And I feel like we got really lucky because I think that the partnership with Hello Giggles that we had was really like what got us into that. Mm-hmm. You know, having Zooey Deschanel's name attached to like posting your work. I don't think without that, I feel like we would have taken a totally different path.
Yeah, I think that's like with everything, like it, depending on what you do and who connects with you, opens the door for other things. You know, I don't know if that makes sense. Like doing stuff for galleries, the certain galleries, depending on the people that shop at those galleries, could get you more work doing other stuff. Because me being at Gallery 88 got me into Disney, but I don't know how. Like people always ask you, like, how do you get into Disney? I'm like, I don't know. There isn't like some secret password, and there isn't like somebody you can just reach out and connect to. So it really, the right person has to see it. And I think that's with like with kids books and like the poster scene and toys and whatever you're trying to do, you just have to, you know, connect with the right people. So
yes, and I think the one thing that I'm going to be doing more of is the fan art side of things, which I've never really like leaned into. I've been more into like doing our original content stuff, but every job that I've gotten with like a higher corporate entity, like when we did work with Netflix, it was because we made an 11 diorama when Her and Her Waffle was so hot and everybody was hopping on that train. But yeah, that's what got us work with them, which I'm going to be doing more of. The only thing is that always gets uncomfortable is when people are like, can I buy your sculpture? Because I won't sell anything unless it's like officially licensed.
Yeah.
And, you know, you working with the actual people who license it, has that changed your perspective on, you know, you yourself or other artists selling unlicensed work?
Well, I mean, doing the unlicensed stuff does get you the work, but then it's like, it's kind of like one of those things, like I'm always fascinated with artists that do unlicensed stuff and work for that company. You know, if that, like they'll do an unlicensed thing for the company that they do official stuff for. I try and avoid to a certain extent, like I won't go near anything unlicensed that's owned by Disney anymore, which is now basically everything. So
oh yeah.
So that's
get
like
you
Marvel.
some of that DC then work.
Yeah, so it's a lot of Aquaman hanging out with Harry Potter, but those are totally still cool. I can draw E.T. getting eaten by a T-Rex from Jurassic Park, but
I want to see that.
I have Mickey Mouse in there. So, but I see a lot of artists that still do it, and I wonder, like, how does that work? And then, I don't know, it makes me nervous to try and go that route. But at the same time, if you don't do that stuff, then you're less likely to get the official stuff. So it's
just a selling part of it, though. You know, like, I mean, I feel like you could do like Marvel stuff. You just can't sell it. And then at that point, you have to say if it's like your time or not, you know, to put that work into, you know, exposure for yourself when you're already getting work.
Like I'll do sketches for people, and I even avoid doing sketches of that stuff too. Like I don't even want to, like, you know, even go that route. But I mean, some people are doing full posters and selling it, but I don't know. I guess if it gets them more work, then if it's working for them, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a catch-22 there because you are kind of like advertising the entity that you're drawing, but at the same time, you know, like especially with some celebrities and sensitivity to their likeness, I am sure there are plenty of things out there that they would be like, no, you can't do that. Like I know John Waters, like, you know, he specifically is one that he's very sensitive about, like, if you're selling his face, which I think rightfully so. Would you find it weird if somebody was selling a poster of Dave Perillo with your face on it and it was like just a little off? Like, you know how the art goes at cons, like everything's just a little off.
Like if they had like an all over print T-shirt with my face on it, like
yes, which I have and I didn't wear today because that would be weird.
Because Jimmy's wearing it, right?
Yes, I wasn't gonna say it.
You have to fight over it.
That would probably be the case.
Yeah, I see him walk by.
I know he's jealous that I'm talking to you. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can understand it, but I think I think if you're not being like, my whole thing is if you're not being harmful to the property, if you're kind of, if it's like an homage, like I don't think there's a problem with it. I don't know. There's a lot of weird stuff though, because then it's like when you kind of develop your own style and then you see other artists might kind of get a little too close to your own style. And then you're wondering like for you guys, like I saw something in a store and I swear to God, it looked like you guys made it. And I was like, that looks like something you guys drew. And it was probably just some, probably how it went was whatever company was making it saw your stuff and then had their in-house artists just copy it, like copy this style. So it was like, there was no way to like prove it. And I meant to take, I forget what it was. It was it was a donut and it had it looked like the magnets that I have on my fridge. And it was something like, it was like that looks a lot like Cuddles and Rage stuff, but it was not.
Well, it's hard though with food stuff because, there's not too many ways to flare that up. And
I think it was in Target too. It was in a Target. I can't remember what it is now, but I see that. And I see that with like Tom's stuff, Tom Whalen stuff, like his stuff, like it's kind of ripped off a lot. Like they steal the style. And like, it's like somebody and some art director or whatever does a Google search for whatever the project they're working on. And then your stuff might pop up in that Google search. And then they send it to whatever artist that's working on it. And then it kind of gets like emulated. Like that's a little, I find that a little annoying because then it's like, well, you could have just hired me,
Well, I know that Matt posted about that recently. Maybe you didn't see it because you're not on Facebook. Is it Matt Lineman? I always get Matt.
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he basically there was somebody that followed him and admired his work, and then is now doing. And I followed other artists and is now doing their styles and getting work with their styles.
Yeah.
And that's just so awkward because I have actually written to people I see a similar style, and just to get feels because. And it's just always so uncomfortable. I don't do it rude. Unless it's really obvious, then I say we have lawyers. Because we do! We have lawyers where stuff is trademarked, maybe not and you are copywritten, if you post online, it's just not as easy of a legal battle to deal with. But it's never, it's always just so awkward and never gotten to the point where I've wanted to take it a step further yet. Yeah,
it's almost like you just kind of want to let them know that you know what they're doing. And I always kind of in a politely passive aggressive way tell them it's like you can do that, but you're not going to get that far doing that. I didn't get where I was by just ganking somebody else's style and then running with it, constantly copying them. It's like you're better off developing your own thing. And even when I talk to students and stuff like that occasionally, I would always tell them it's one of the most important things you want to do is you can be inspired and you can borrow, I guess, certain aspects of other artists that you like, but it's very important to kind of come up with your own thing. And that's what's going to set you apart because there already is that person out there and they don't need a second one that's not going to do it as good. So you're better off coming up with what you do on your own and making it the best you can, being the best you can be.
No, it's true. And even if you think that your style's kind of crappy, it's not. I mean, I feel like there's charm in perfection. At least I definitely took that away with our journey in art. Every people would be like, that looks kind of derpy. I'm like, you want to buy it? Cool. Yeah. It's derpy. I
don't care. Derpy sells.
Yeah. Let's lean into that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's not really anything. It's hard to say. There's still bad art out there, but I mean, somebody might like it. So even if you look at it and you might oh, that's awful looking stuff. Still, I mean, even at conventions, we go to conventions and I see artists and they sell stuff, and I wonder, it's okay, I guess people like that, but it's not my thing. So it must be somebody's thing because they sell it. So there's all different styles. It's just important not to, copy somebody else's. So that's not going to do you any good. But
I mean, that's the ongoing advice with any conversation about art. I think that endlessly has to come up because it's one of those things that it's not going to go away. You know, you're going to learn how to draw. You're going to emulate somebody else. And then I feel like you have to, it sounds really weird. Maybe you'll understand it. Like lean into where your hand takes you, not where you force it so that you can copy, but just like what feels natural to you. And then I feel like you're going to get, that's where your style is going to come out, is when you don't have to think about it so hard.
Yeah. And I think a lot of younger kids, like even like when I was in high school, I think back, like I definitely just straight up ripped off comic artists that I was into at the time and tried to like draw my stuff like that. Like I liked Sam Keith. I used to draw a lot of stuff, like try to mimic his style. And, you know, even like Todd McFarlane at the time when he was like huge, I used to try and draw like Spider-Man like that. But like, you know, I wasn't very good at it. So I'm better off drawing 3-fingered, weird looking cartoon character people than drawing like a comic artist. So I find that once you kind of get away from that, it's just going to help you. So,
yeah, I'd love to see your take on you trying to draw something like that. That'd be so fascinating.
There's like a portfolio I have somewhere, probably still at my parents' house, of like all my like high school senior art stuff. It was so embarrassing. Yeah.
I'm sure it's better than you remember.
What's that?
Oh, I'm sure it's better than you remember.
No. I used to draw Simpsons characters all the time. Like that was like my thing. I used to just love drawing the Simpsons, like over and over again. I had a whole wall of Simpsons characters. And I used to draw people like Simpsons characters. Well, like my Christmas card this year, I drew my whole family like Simpsons characters. So it was a throwback to...
Yes, we just didn't even know it. But
yeah. I've been practicing that for years. So,
well, to wind down our conversation, what is your take on the future of just the freelance art industry? I mean, obviously there are lots of conversations about, you know, even just standard admin stuff kind of becoming more freelance as people are trying to, you know, thin down their companies. But, you know, with our industry in general, you know, I'll speak for myself and not to influence your answer, but I feel like a lot of people are going to cut down on cons. Like if people can continue to support them online a bit more, because they are getting crazy expensive. Mm-hmm. But I can't understand like the future of the client work aspect of it. So what do you think there? Do
you think people are going to not go to cons as much, or do you think the artists aren't going to go to do the cons?
I think the artists are going to be more selective.
Yeah, well, I think like before COVID, there was like the cons there was just too many of them, because even like 10 years ago, there was not nearly as many cons. And then now it was like every city had like 5 conventions, and they were, like you said, really getting overpriced to even get in or do as a table. Like the convention people would run them, and I don't think they understood the concept that's like, you're a new convention and you have to justify your table costs by showing how many people are going to come into that convention. You can't just start a convention and be like, well, this convention did it and they had 20,000 people come through. It's like, yeah, but nobody knows who you are, and you're charging the same price for the 20,000 person convention. Like I've been at conventions where the guy like totally spun it, like we're going to have so many people, and it was the worst convention I was ever at in my entire life. It was so bad that the guy who played Bud Bundy got in a fight with the con promoter out in the parking lot the next day, as Tia Carrera and the guy Michael Winslow from Police Academy like sang on like it was like a fever dream. It was insane. Like Gary Busey was there. The guy brought in all these celebrities and then stiffed everybody. And I think I had one sale the entire day, because there was actually more celebrities there than people that came into the convention. That's how
I was mentioning that to somebody that I was talking to our editor last night, our editor that worked on Bites of Terror, and was talking about cons. And yeah, it's become like all celebrity, like not about the artists, but about the celebrities. Even for like the Marvel DC guys who are just like, you know, iconic. I feel like they're even getting, you know, taken advantage of, like with all the celebrities coming in and not giving them the attention they deserve.
Yeah, and then the celebrity ticket, like the prices for like the autographs, like wipes out any hope that they're going to come over to the artists and spend money, because they spent like literally like $1,000 to meet 2 celebrities and get their photos with them. It's like, well, how much money do you think they have left now? Like you're not spreading it around. It's like, you know, I don't know. Like some of the conventions I was at, I was like, I couldn't even believe the crazy amount of money people were dropping on a photo and autograph opportunity with people. Like, I don't know that because it didn't filter down. There wasn't like that. There wasn't that trickle down Reaganomics going on in the convention that was helping out the artists in Artist Alley. So, I really miss, like, I think there's going to be a whole generation of people that will have never experienced what a real comic book convention was like. Like, I don't want to sound like the guy who's like, you don't remember, like, back in my day, comic book conventions. But I remembered, I have these like vivid memories of being a kid going to a comic convention, and there was no celebrities, and it was a bunch of the long boxes of comics, and it smelled like old comics, and you'd have a couple artists there, and there'd be like toys and collectibles, and then maybe like the guy selling like bootleg VHS tapes of stuff that, like, oh, the Fantastic Four movie on, like, like that was it. And then it got bigger and bigger, and then you had companies like Wizard World start doing like their conventions, and they started bringing in celebrities, and then it kind of took over into less of a comic book show and more of a pop culture experience, I guess is what it is. Yeah. Like even New York Comic Con, which is, one of the biggest ones, and it's very light on comics, more on everything else. Like, they shouldn't even have comic in the title anymore. It doesn't seem like a comic convention,
Well, San Diego, like, once they started popping with all the Marvel stuff, I feel like they kind of set the tone for everybody else to try and get that money. And strategically, for people who couldn't afford San Diego, like corporations that couldn't afford San Diego Comic-Con anymore, would then find, the brother or the cousin that would be the equivalent of that, so that they could be the dominant person at that con, and they could be the main name. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of changed around too. I mean, have you ever thought about doing like the smaller, like, I love Small Press Expo, I love Mocha Fest. I mean, especially since you're getting more into like trying to do book stuff, because that's where the publishers meet, the writers and the artists all in one.
Yeah. I mean, I've done SPX years and years ago.
When you did?
When? Yes. It was when I was doing like the Little Scamp comics and stuff. I don't even remember all that stuff. Like, I had like little mini comics.
I don't know, because I wondered if we were there the same year. I think we started in 2011.
No, it was before that. It was because I started doing conventions in 2005.
Grandpa!
And it was probably 2006, 2007 I did SPX. And it was with the Philadelphia Cartoonist Society. Like, we had a whole table set up. They had an anthology book they put out.
Was that with like Chogren when he was doing that too, or?
I don't even know if he was part of that at that point.
Okay.
He was probably still in school.
Baby.
I think he graduated like 09 or something. I feel like that was like 09 and stuff like that, when that whole Autumn Society and all, they started doing their stuff. Yeah, I mean, I tried it years and years ago. I don't know. It's so expensive to do anymore. You got to get the hotel, and then the travel, and then like most of my stock is huge screen prints, which they don't sell at them things. So
they kind of do more. I mean, you haven't been to one recently. There's more of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's more original characters. So you'd have to do your Harry Potter knockoffs. Yeah. But you're already like on that path. So you just lean into it.
Yeah. Yeah. And when we did, I did 5 Points Festival, which was kind of like that one year. It was very vinyl toy oriented.
Yeah, I don't think we got our car hit when we did that one. Our car got scratched up, so we were like, nope, never again. And we didn't make back our money on what took to travel.
Yeah, because that's in New York, so it's so expensive. Was that the one that was in Brooklyn that you did, or did you do it when it was in Manhattan?
Brooklyn.
Okay, so I did it the first year, I guess. I don't think I did it this. It's funny too, because I did it and then I applied to it. Was it 2019? I applied to it and they rejected me. I was like, what? What did I do? I got like turned down. Like they started curating it. It's like
maybe because you don't have the figurines, because it is more toy focused.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I can't figure it out.
You're like, how dare you? Do you know that I have a fan page?
Do you know who I am?
Exactly.
There's a guy wearing a T-shirt with my face on it.
I mean, I'm gonna have to just like, I mean, if I put your face up on Redbubble, would you sue me?
No, Yeah.
Okay, good.
Right.
Then I could share the love with the world.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah. I started doing stuff on TeePublic. Like I wanted shirts of things like logos. So I just started putting them up there so I could order them for myself. Like old logos of things that they don't have anymore, So
yeah. Did you take them down or did you keep going?
Sometimes I just order it and then I take it down because I don't want to get in trouble. But if it's other stuff, like nobody remembers this, so
but you should actually, I mean, if you want passive income, I know you're not like hurting for it, but actually a lot of those places now have teamed up with and gotten the licenses for popular stuff.
Yes, I did notice that. They started like saying like, oh, we have the license for this now. It's got to get approved by whatever company is doing it. I was like, oh, all right. So,
I don't know if it's worth your time, but I do like seeing the money just like come into my PayPal from those corporations. Because it's just like, oh, okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, sometimes you'll get like $40 or $50 like in a month, especially right around Christmas. Like this stuff starts like November. It's crazy. They're like, oh, okay, I guess people found it because like I'll do I live near Great Adventure amusement park, and they used to have like an old logo that I loved, but you can't find that anymore. So I'm like, I love the old 80s.
I was thinking New Jersey, that crazy one that got a documentary.
Oh, that's at Action Park.
Okay,
yeah. This is further south, kind of closer to me. It's Great Adventure. It's Six Flags, Great Adventure, and they had this like old '80s style logo that was there when I was a kid. And I was like, they don't sell it. Why don't you guys should sell this on a shirt? I would totally buy it. And I couldn't find it, so I was like, I'm just gonna throw it up there. And then it's up there, but I don't even I purposely don't tag it so people can find it. I don't want to draw too much attention to it because it's like obviously I don't own this logo, and I wanted the shirt, but then I sold 50 of them. I'm like, oh my gosh, people found this thing and we're buying them. Like, Great Adventure should get on this.
Wow. Did you take it down eventually?
No, it's still there. I'm waiting to. They'll just take it down if they get in trouble.
Yes.
It'll probably happen now. Like John C. Great Adventure is going to be listening to this and be like, wait a minute. I want to get on that man's site and take it down.
No, it means he should hire you because you're doing something right. That's what I see.
Well, there's a place in Jersey too called Storybook Land, which I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's very odd. It's a very odd old amusement park that's been there since 1955. And I've reached out to them because their merchandise, I took my kids there, and there's so much potential for really cool throwback retro 50s style merchandise because they've been there for so long. And all it is the typical stuff that you would see on a New Jersey boardwalk. Of Storybook Land, and it looks like it's bought out of a catalog that they just get all their stuff out of. There's no thought put into it. So I reached out to I tried to find whoever was in charge, and I was I do stuff for Disney, and I was basically telling them I'll do this for free for you. I think you guys should have this cool merchandise, and they just ignored me. So I'm like, all right. So I threw up on the site because I wanted this cool Storybook Land t-shirt. So I did a Storybook Land t-shirt and I put it up on my TeePublic thing, and I was like, there we go. Now I have my cool Storybook Land thing.
That's the way to do it. I should start thinking about doing that with things that I want. I guess I'm looking at a Charles Bronson commission that we got, I think, from Ben Turner. Yeah, I think that's. So I'm like, I want Charles Bronson on my on a shirt. I'm sure I can find that, but is it the angle that I want?
Yeah. And I think it's if you were just I don't know, you're making one for yourself, then.
Yeah.
Where is the harm? It's like DeviantArt all over again, where people contact you and go, "Can you please send me artwork? I am from Brazil. Please send me artwork. I put on T-shirt." Were you ever on DeviantArt? Did you ever?
Yes, because I wanted to. There was a diorama contest, and I won. But that was the only time. that I won.
It still exists because it's funny because I have not logged into DeviantArt in probably 3 years, and then just the other day I was like, I wonder if that's still active. And I went in, I logged in, and sure enough, my thing's still up. And then there's notes people send you messages, and it's 50 notes from people with very bad English, probably out of the country, asking for me to send them high-res versions of my artwork so they can print it because it's for personal use. I'm like, I'm not going to send you my artwork. So just at this point, just take it and print out what's there. Just deal with what's all up there. Just don't tell me, please.
Like, be sneaky about your scam. Yeah. Don't be obvious. Like, get creative.
Yeah. You're going to go rob a bank and be like, please give me money. I swear, I have gun. I'll go get it. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it does get tricky with that stuff. Like, I don't know how it works legally. Because I'll have people point out and be like, hey, this person's, like, selling your stuff. And then I'll write to them. And they'll be like, oh, but I got it legally from Redbubble. So, technically, you got paid. So, I can just upcharge it and sell it to people. And I don't know, is that legal? I mean, technically, you get the money, but you don't get the money as if you were hired to do it.
What do you mean, they, like, put your stuff on products on Redbubble?
Yeah, so, like, they buy, you know, let's say, like, stickers or whatever from Redbubble. Yeah. And then they have their own online shop. And then they're like, hey, we have Cuddles and Rage stickers. Like, come buy these stickers. But they're, you know, marked up, obviously, so they can make a profit.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. I've seen, that's probably okay, I guess. That's kind of almost like eBay. Like, people, like, flipping stuff on eBay for higher prices. But, like, sometimes on Redbubble, they'll take your artwork and they'll put it, like, on a T-shirt and, or, like stickers and magnets. And, like, one guy, like, I reached out to them and they kept advertising it. And it was like Ninja Turtle stuff. And I'm like, I did this. It was official through Ninja Turtles. And now you're taking it and you're putting it on, like, stickers and magnets and all this product. It's like, you got to take it down. It's like, well, we bought it from a distributor, so we're not taking it down. I go, well, there shouldn't be a distributor selling this stuff. You know, you're selling bootleg artwork from a license. It's like licensed through Mondo. It was weird. It was.
Oh, dude, that's like at Baltimore Comic Con. We saw, like, knockoff Mondo posters.
Oh,
like, I had, like, a big wall. And, like, you want to be, like, the art police and be like, I know those aren't
real. Yeah. Well, we like, called out a guy one time at Philly because he was selling our own stuff. And he had, like, the 11x17, like, printouts, and it was, like, Mondo posters and stuff like that. But he had stuff that was even, like, Gallery 88 show posters that I did. That wasn't even through a company. That was, like, it was, like, really my own stuff. And we, like, had Wizard World come over, like, the staff, and be like, the guy's selling our artwork bootlegs. And then they pulled all of it and they gave it to us. And the guy was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was unlicensed artwork. I'm like, yes, you do. You got, like, bins of this stuff. Where'd you think it came from? So then we just tore it all up. We, like, posted pictures of it all torn up online. So it was very.
That's amazing that they did that they got your back and just, like.
Yeah, I'm surprised, especially that company, because they're shady. So, yeah.
But you'll still probably come back to them and sell your stuff at a con, right?
No, I'm done.
No, you're done?
Yeah, that's a convention that I'm not going to. It's a shame, too, because that's one of the ones I first started doing. And they've gotten just so bad that, like, because, like, during the pandemic, like, people were, like, before, I was buying, like, tables, you know, like, planning ahead. So I was signed up for, like, the table in June. And because I bought it in February, and the next thing you know, COVID happens and everything starts shutting down. So I contacted them. I said, I would like to get my money back. And they're like, oh, no, we can't do that. And I said, well, I paid in full for these tables. It's a lot of money. I could kind of use it now. And they're like, oh, no, we'll just roll it over to the next show. So I'm like, well, who knows when that's going to be? So they just kept ignoring me. Then they finally announced when the next show was, and they moved it. Like, it wasn't even in Philly anymore. It was, like, outside of Philly. Wow. In a town called Oaks, at a little convention center, and they took a day away. And I'm like, well, okay, now it's not in the same location, and it's not you've taken a day away, but you're charging me the same price. So they were like, oh, well, no, we can't do anything. We can't give you your money back. So then I finally had to, like, go through my credit card and do that whole thing and fight for my money back and explain to my credit card company. I was like, this is not in the same place. It's not the same thing because it's less days. And so then luckily the credit card company got me. So
that's shocking. They have bigger morals than that.
Yeah. 5 emails back and forth with Wizard World, like, just kind of, like, explaining. And I feel bad for everyone else. Like, who signed up for this? Like, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give credit to AwesomeCon. Like, they did give you an option to, like, keep going every time. And then, or decide to jump out, and we bailed out because you just don't know what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know if you're even going to, I don't know, want to make it if they open it up.
Yeah. They're scheduled for When are they scheduled for? Aren't they
I don't
scheduled for?
know. I got an email. It sounded like maybe something virtually. I don't know. I mean, because the past years we haven't had to apply. Like when you're local, it's pretty easy to just, and you've been, going there for a while. So you can get an invite. So, but with the book, we actually bought a table because we were trying to make sure that we got a chance to promote it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I haven't been paying close attention.
Yeah.
It was really like the first time in a couple of years that we've had to formally get a table.
Oh, okay. Yeah, me and Ian were supposed to do the one in May, and then that got canceled. So, but they contacted us I think it was May. Was it May? Or was it April or something? I forget when it was, but they contacted us and they had canceled it. But we kind of always find out last minute whether we're going to be there or not. So, and then
yes, it is weird. You're kind of you're like, oh, I mean, I think that's what happened to us when we were writing Bites of Terror, and so that's why we couldn't be there multiple days because we wanted to go and work it, but then working 24/7 on a book.
Right.
But it kind of feel like the one time that you say no, you can't do it. Will you not get the invite the next year because you didn't seize it?
Have you upset them? Yeah.
The awesome con gods that be. I'm really proud of that con though because it has grown. It did grow from being one tiny room.
Yes.
Into something massive.
See, there's a convention I feel like that was grounded in reality. They still didn't gouge, and I think that they actually could charge more for their tables if they wanted to. Because they do get the people in there, but they shouldn't.
No, but it is high.
I mean, compared to other things like Wizard World, which doesn't get a fraction of the people, was $100 more than the tables at AwesomeCon. And I think they're smaller. I don't know. If you get
the AwesomeCon tables are huge. We've almost been oh, I guess we have to spread out.
Well, I mean,
you're so
Wizard World
pampered.
Philly's tables are small compared to they charge more than AwesomeCon. And, I don't know. Maybe I'm mixed up. I know Baltimore has ridiculously small tables. That used to frustrate me. They were the smallest tables, and
they don't turn the air conditioning on until the show starts too. So I always have to have an extra shirt. I think one time I had to drive home to get Jimmy a new shirt because we sweating through our stuff.
Yeah, that's always such an odd kind of show too because. It's in that basement, so there's no concept of time or what the weather is outside. It's we're mole people living,
Yes, yeah, it is true. And then all the food, you're do I want to go see the sunlight like a vampire?
Yeah.
And get real food or get the con food, which is worse than whatever junk you're probably already eating.
Right, box of donuts and bag of Swedish fish. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, before we go on to every other con, we should call it a day.
Yeah.
I feel we could go through all of them. It's just nice to talk about them, even though we don't get to be at them.
Yeah, I wish I did have a video of that one really weird one though. Seriously, where it was insane. It was just so odd.
How did somebody not take out their phone and shoot the actor that plays Bud Bundy?
I don't know. I didn't see the Bud Bundy incident. It was outside, but it was in the parking lot. From what I heard was that the guy said he told all the celebrities they were going to get a certain amount of money, and then since nobody showed up, there was no money. So I don't know what went down, but it didn't seem good.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
There was supposed to be food trucks outside, and it was freezing. It was in March. I remember it was so cold that one of the other vendors was selling gutters for your house. They always have those weird vendors that don't belong at a convention. Well, it was 80% of those vendors at this convention. So the steak knife guy, the guy that you can buy meat sent to your house. So there was this lady selling gutters that was right next to us, and she had a display that had water running into a gutter, and there was a little thermometer on it. I remember looking at the thermometer, and it was 36 degrees inside this building. There was no heat. It was so cold. It was almost freezing.
That's so cheap.
Yeah, and it was a place that you would have a wedding in the 70s that looks like the last time it was used. It was. I could write I could do a movie about it. That's how weird it was. It was surreal.
I mean, that should be like your new mini comic or all these like creepy cons that you've done and weird experiences.
Oh, I did another one too, and it was just me and Tom Whalen and if you remember Pat McMullen. Did you ever meet Pat McMullen? Another guy we used to do. So it was the three of us at this convention in a room, and the only other vendor there was the guy running the convention. And 9 people came into the convention all day long. And one of the guys was the guy that worked at the rental car place in the hotel.
Well, that was considerate.
Yeah.
That was very thoughtful of him.
Well, I didn't buy anything.
I mean, I guess my worst con was I was trying to do something super local. I was like, okay, support the local community. But they didn't tell us that it was, a crafts show and also a yard sale.
Oh.
And so you'd have these people coming up to you like haggling for your art, and you'd be like, no, like these are set prices, like these are hand sculpted, and they're like, yeah, but you could take 5 off. I'm like, no.
Yeah, but how much for the table that the stuff is on? I want the table. Can I buy your chairs? Yeah.
Like that's when I typically try not to get like rude, but you kind of had to be stern in that scenario.
Yeah, that's always a weird thing when the bartering system for art at the conventions. It's like, it's not really that thing. You don't go into McDonald's and be like, can I get the cheeseburger for 50 cents?
Yeah.
It's the price.
Well, and I don't know, you don't get it as much at like standard, Comic-Con type things, but like at the small press expos, it's kind of like the culture is to do trades and stuff.
Yeah.
But we've kind of stopped doing it because you don't know what you're getting.
Too sometimes, like when somebody comes up and they're like, "Hey, you want to do a trade?" and you're looking at their stuff and you're like, "I'm sorry, Jimmy, I just don't want that donut." You can get the one from Liz; it'll be so much better. I'm sorry. I know you're wearing my shirt, but it gets awkward. So I know what you mean.
I mean, that's why you just say you don't do trades. Like,
yeah.
Period. I mean, even among friends, you can. I mean, I feel like it's safe to be like, I'd rather just give you money.
Right.
Can I give you this $5 magnet day for your $70 poster? I think that's a fair trade. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I miss seeing your face, and it's so nice to like reminisce of the old con days.
Yep. I can't wait till the year 2030 when we can go to conventions again.
Oh my god, dude, that's when I'm gonna have to get out the memory foam mat for when I have to stand all day. Like I'm almost at that point.
We were already there at like New York. We had to have the foam because it was like it's too bad. It's yeah.
Did you bring it with you?
Yeah, I brought like those square like yoga mat things that you can like put down and like make like a floor. So I had them. I brought them.
Oh, like this. Oh, okay. I understand what you're talking about that. Dude, I actually might start doing that because, like, really, it does hurt. Like, Jimmy even has his, I'm telling all his tricks. He has his, like, behind the table shoes and then his outside the table shoes.
Oh, does he wear cool shoes outside of the table? Oh.
I mean, I think so, if I'm remembering, because he wears, like, his checkered Vans. I don't know if he still has those, but at one point, that's what he would do just so you can be comfortable all day.
To support the checkered Vans, right?
Good enough. I mean, when he got a young back, it probably did the tricks.
I got the orthopedic shoes and the compression socks and yeah.
Dude, when I did 5 Points, like was it 5 Points or Mocha? I can't remember, but I had to like stop into a CVS and get like, like Dr. Scholl's type stuff. Because I was just wearing boots and I was like, I'm gonna die. I mean, especially when you're walking around New York the whole time.
Yeah.
It's hard to you that's when you can like eat all the donuts you want because you're like, I'm burning off all the donuts.
Right.
But your feet pay for it.
Yeah. Like New York Comic Con is brutal. Like I remember the first year we did it, we were just standing on concrete for the whole time. We didn't bring a chair. So we just stood for 9 hours and like we were like sitting on the floor at a certain point. It was awful. I don't know what we were thinking. Because we
didn't provide chairs?
What's that?
They didn't provide chairs?
They don't. No, nothing. No tables, no chairs, nothing. You get a square foot of concrete. You get to build your own little habitat in. But it's like if you want to rent a chair, it's cheaper to buy a chair from Walmart, have it shipped to the convention center, and then just leave it there than it is to rent a chair from the convention center. So people do that. They're like, They like have their tables shipped from Walmart to the convention center. And then at the end of the show, they just leave them. So if you ever want like a free folding table, just go to New York Comic Con on Sunday night. There's hundreds of them just lying around.
Have you taken one?
No, because we already had our own, so we couldn't fit any more in the car. The car is like packed, like because we stuff it in like an SUV, like everything. It's so crazy, like it is wild. Like that's what I don't miss is the packing and loading and unpacking and building, and that gets old.
Yeah, and then don't you guys all share a room?
Yep, and the snoring and the smelly people, and yeah. I'm the considerate one. That's how bad it is.
How are you the considerate one?
Because I don't snore.
Okay, well, you know what? I snore like crazy. I'm like an old man, so we can't help it. I'll speak for one of the snorers. I'm guessing I know who it is. I won't call them out.
In my room?
Yeah.
It's everybody except for me.
Both of them?
Everybody. All
everybody. Who else is in your room besides Scott and Ian?
Sometimes Tom's at New York. Tom shares the room. They all snore.
Oh.
I remember,
my God,
I've tried earplugs. Did I ever tell you the earplug story where I had put the earplugs in, and then I had a dream that I was chewing gum, and I woke up and I just spit the earplug out of my mouth, and I was like, I can't even wear earplugs. I'm chewing on my own earplug. I thought it was gum.
Ew. Yeah, you get noise cancellation earbuds. Like that's what the AirPods have. They have noise cancellation, which is actually really
the actual like plastic one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I have them in right now, but they're kind of annoying at times. I have a dream that I have my AirPods in, and then I'll be scratching my ear, and then I'll wake up the next day and have blood in my ear. I mean, this is getting kind of gross.
Yeah, that's worse than chewing. Yeah.
Before I share any creepier habits, I'm going to say goodbye.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for hopping on. It was so nice to like actually get to have a conversation about cons and not have to fight for like smelly people laying on the table or being like, "Whoa, I'm sorry, I should get out of your way because I want to give you money."
Yeah.
That's the worst. When somebody just hounds there and they're like, I'm working the table.
But where are all those weird people now? I wonder what happened to that. I feel bad.
I miss all of them.
The people that walk around and the tiny, strange characters. I mean,
they're celebrities to me. Like, those are the celebrities at the cons. Are like the people that you get to see. Like, remember Tarzan? Baltimore Comic Con Tarzan?
Tiny nipple Tarzan?
No underwear Tarzan?
The guy who just walked around in a loincloth? Tarzan?
Yes!
Yeah, yes. Oh, how could you not remember Tarzan?
I miss that guy.
Yeah.
He was bold.
I always miss the people that come up and then just start, like you had started a conversation with them that you didn't realize, and they're halfway through it. That's like always my favorite. They just start talking about something, and you're just looking at them like, I don't know what happened here, but we're now in the middle of a conversation that I didn't start. Like weird stuff, like weird things that like, what are you talking about? You know?
Yeah.
Their own comic ideas.
Those impromptu moments, pointing out that you got the nose wrong on some guy that you drew.
Oh yeah, I love that. Yeah, love all my mistakes being pointed out to me.
Yeah.
Like if I misspell something on a poster, that's always fun.
Oh gosh, yes, we've had that in a book that we did, like just like a Staples like mini comic, and I was actually really thankful. They're like, you spelled that wrong, and I appreciate that because then you're not putting out bad product.
I did a whole run of posters and I forgot the letter E on something, and then everybody had to say, "Oh, are you going to get them reprinted?" I'm like, "No, it's an E. I'm not going to. These are screen printed. I'm not going to reprint the entire run." And then one guy's like, "Well, I don't want it then. Can I get my money back?" And I'm like, "All right."
Yes. I mean, did you discount it at all?
Because it was missing an E?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
I like your lack of perfectionism.
Yeah. It wasn't like you really need to see it. It really isn't that big of a deal. It was like such a minor mistake that for someone to even find it drove me crazy. Like,
yeah.
Well,
good for them. Was it like the small font at the bottom of like a movie poster?
Yes.
Okay. And yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like I had like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a movie with a letter E in it. I can't.
Or like the title of a film, it's not like
the
you missed
title
it
of the
there.
film.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that Empire Strikes Back. You know, I didn't think
I think more people would buy that.
They might.
They would lean into that one at least.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope to see you soon, Dave. I'm going to travel up your way whenever things calm
if you get up to Philadelphia.
I will. I just was talking to those tax people too yesterday. So.
To what people?
The tax people in Philly, Pennsylvania tax people. I had to call them yesterday. It's tax season.
Oh, because all the out-of-state stuff you get to do. Like...
Well, I'll tell you after the call because it's long and boring.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, I'll see you later. Wait, don't hang up though. Wait, don't hang up because I'm actually going to talk. I'm going to stop recording. This is always awkward. I'm like, you stay on. Right. I'll just do the... It's so nice to have you, Dave. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much to Dave for being on the show. It was wonderful getting to talk to him again. And I will have a link in the show notes so that you can check out our past conversations. I kind of like going back and visiting because it's like, how have we grown as people? I was thinking long and hard about what movie I wanted to recommend for Dave. And I'm going to go with Der Fan. If it's a movie you haven't seen before, go check it out. It's about a girl who is like crazy obsessed with this musician. And I was like, oh, well, I was a fan of Dave's before I met him. It would not play out in the same scenario that it does in this film, but that's what like brought it all together for me. So go check out Der Fan. I should have worn my Der Fan shirt. It's like a crazy, disturbing ride for anybody who has never seen it. And if you have a friend who's like a major fangirl of something, like just go something in this movie and be like, beware of how far you take this thing. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, then go check out my previous chat with Dave Perillo. I'm going to have a link in the show notes so you can check it out. And I'll see you next time.